Despite her French name, Marie Curie's story didn't start in France. Her road to Paris and success was a hard one, as equally worthy of admiration as her scientific accomplishments. Marie Salomia Skłodowska-Curie was a Polish and naturalized French physicist and chemist who conducted pioneering research on radioactivity. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the first person and the only woman to win a Nobel Prize twice, and the only person to win a Nobel Prize in two scientific fields. Her husband, Pierre Curie, was a co-winner of her first Nobel Prize, making them the first ever married couple to win the Nobel Prize and launching the Curie family legacy of 5 Nobel Prizes. She was, in 1906, the first woman to become a professor at the University of Paris. Salomia Skłodowska was born in 1867 in Warsaw, Poland. She faced some daunting hurdles, both because of her gender and her family's poverty, which stemmed from the political turmoil at the time. Her parents, deeply patriotic Poles, lost most of their money supporting their homeland in its struggle for independence from Russian, Austrian and Prussian regimes. Her father, a math and physics professor, and her mother, headmistress of a respected boarding school in Russian-occupied Warsaw, instilled in their 5 kids a love of learning. They also imbued them with an appreciation of Polish culture, which the Russian government discouraged. When Curie and her 3 sisters finished regular schooling, they couldn't carry on with higher education like their brother. The local university didn't let women enroll, and their families didn't have the money to send them abroad. Their only options were to marry or become governesses. Curie and her sister Bronislaw found another way. She studied her schooling at Warsaw's clandestine flying university and began her practical scientific training in Warsaw. In 1891, aged 24, she followed her elder sister Bronislaw to study in Paris, where she earned her higher degrees and conducted her subsequent scientific work. In 1895 she married the French physicist Pierre Curie, and she shared the 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics with him and with the physicist Henri Becquerel for their pioneering work developing the theory of radioactivity, a term she coined. In 1906 Pierre Curie died in a Paris street accident. Marie won the 1911 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her discovery of the elements polonium and radium, using techniques she invented for isolating radioactive isotopes. The pair took up with a secret organization called Flying University, or sometimes Floating University. Fittingly, given the English abbreviation, the point of FU was to stick it to the Russian government and provide a pro-Polish education, in Polish, expressly forbidden in Russian-controlled Poland. In the early days, her sisters hatched a plan that would help them both get the higher education they so desperately wanted. Curie would work as a governess and support Bronislawa's medical school studies. Then, Bronislaw would return the favor once she was established. Curie endured years of misery as a governess, but the plan worked. In 1891, she packed her bags and headed to Paris and her bright future. At the University of Paris, Curie was inspired by French physicist Henri Becquerel. In 1896, he discovered that uranium emitted something that looked an awful lot like, but not quite the same as, X-rays, which had been discovered only the year before. Intrigued, Curie decided to explore uranium and its mysterious rays as a PhD thesis topic. Eventually, she realized whatever was producing these rays was happening at an atomic level, an important first step to discovering that atoms weren't the smallest form of matter. It was a defining moment for what Curie would eventually call radioactivity. Around the same time, Curie met and married her French husband, Pierre, an accomplished physicist who abandoned his own work and joined his wife's research. The two started examining minerals containing uranium and pitchblende, a uranium-rich ore, and realized the latter was 4 times more radioactive than pure uranium. They reasoned some other element must be in the mix, sending those radioactive levels through the roof. And they were right. After processing literally tons of pitchblende, they discovered a new element and named the first chemical element as polonium, after her native country. While a French citizen, Marie Skłodowska-Curie, who used both surnames, never lost her sense of Polish identity. She taught her daughters the Polish language and took them on visits to Poland. They published a paper in July 1898, revealing the find. And just 5 months later, they announced their discovery of yet another element, radium, found in trace amounts in uranium ore. Under her direction, the world's first studies were conducted into the treatment of neoplasms by the use of radioactive isotopes. In 1920 she founded the Curie Institute in Paris, and in 1932 the Curie Institute in Warsaw. Both remain major centers of medical research. During World War I, she developed mobile radiography units to provide X-ray services to field hospitals. Marie Curie died in 1934, aged 66, at the Saint-Selemos Sanatorium in Passy, Haute-Savoie, France, of aplastic anemia from exposure to radiation in the course of her scientific research and in the course of her radiological work at field hospitals during World War I. In addition to her Nobel Prizes, she has received numerous other honors and tributes. In 1995 she became the first woman to be entombed on her own merits in the Paris Pantheon, and Poland declared 2011 the year of Marie Curie during the International Year of Chemistry. She is the subject of numerous biographical works, and she is also known as Madame Curie.